Boston, the winningest sports city this century. Each championship deriving from a plan. Join us as we discuss the next Boston Banner Blueprint with your hosts, Josh Finkel, Nick Walsh, and Nate Philbrook.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into episode 31 of the Boston Banner Blueprint podcast. It is Nate here with Nick, Fink, and PT. It is a full crew here talking Sox and Pats tonight as we enter the month of June. Boys, how are we doing? Nick, I'm going to throw it to you first to plug those socials.
2 weeks in a row, I get this job promotion. So first off, you can find us on X/Twitter, Boston Banner BP, Facebook and Instagram, Boston Banner Blueprint, TikTok, Boston Banner BLU, Apple and Spotify, and YouTube, Boston Banner Blueprint.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and rate 5 stars on all those platforms. Share with your friends, family, and everybody you know, even if you don't even like them. But Fink, let's get this show on the road. Let's get this ball rolling and start talking some Sox and some Pats.
Yeah, so I mean, we don't have a lot to get to, which feels like all the time now in the sports world. But I mean, we got some Patriots OTA stuff to go over. Stephon Diggs handing out candy. It's not Halloween yet. Talking about the Red Sox, Trevor Story's revival. I'm not buying it. We'll talk about why. Yeah, we got a wide variety of topics to get to. I'm excited. So yeah, let's dive into this thing. Where do you want to begin? Dick Fitz, right now, on Monday, June 13th at 7:57 p.m. He's given up 6 runs. Not exactly
how good he's looked. Yeah, this is kind of a surprise start, but everybody's due for a blow up at some point, right? So
yeah, but 5 runs without even recording it out is more than a blow up.
Yeah.
At what point does Bailey start taking some of this heat? Because the approach on the mound has been just as atrocious as the approach at the plate. So, and I know he's a Breslow guy. So,
I think it started last year with the too long of a time to adjust. Like they started off, if we remember correctly, first half of last year they were pitching well because they were spinning the ball, throwing a lot more off speed than fastballs, and then they were late to adjust because the league caught up to it, what they were trying to do. And then they went into the slump second half of last year because they were getting teed off because they knew the opposing teams knew a fastball wasn't coming. So I think it should go all the way back to last year for Bailey, and then it's just kind of spiraled into this year.
No, and I think that's a really good point, Nate. And I think it was on the Section 10 podcast, but they were talking about how when like guys come up like Dobbins, like when he first came up, he looked really, really good. And then each time he gets progressively worse. But when he in AAA, when he was down, he looked fine. Like he looked like he did in his first start in the majors. So I think it's a good point. It's tough to blame him because he was so hyped up coming in. So it kind of sucks to put the blame on him. But I mean, you got to point the finger somewhere. You can't put it all on Cora, all on Breslow, like Bailey's Nick.
I was going to say, in terms of Dobbins, though, and guys like that could also, just to play the fair card with Bailey, with rookies, you come up, no one's seen them really up at the big league level facing those hitters. So once a turn or two around the rotation, guys are going to start getting video on guys and getting a scouting report more so at the big league level. So in terms of Dobbins sliding each time through the rotation, I'm not going to put that specifically on Bailey, but overall, an overarching look at the pitching, yes. But in terms of Dobbins specifically and rookies coming up and kind of trotting back down to normal, that's a normal thing with rookie pitchers, and that is not Bailey specific.
Before we get too far into it, let's just kind of talk about where we are right now. We're 29-32, 4th in the AL, 8.5 back, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's up to date. Obviously had the Angels coming in who are 1-7 in their last 9. And we're losing nothing. Like that, it's just you go to
Won
Atlanta.
7 in
You
the
win
last 9. What did they do in the ninth?
Nice
Oh,
math skills there, Fink.
oh wait, yeah. Sorry, sorry. Guys. Edit that out, Tony. Just kidding.
No, keep that one in.
Definitely staying. But no, it's just like you go to Atlanta, you win 2 out of 3, and then you come back home and you poop again all over the place. Like, how hard is it, guys, to just play well at home? You have momentum. They've gotten momentum so many times this year, and then they don't even know what that word means. They don't even know what that means.
I think for them, the most consistent thing about this year's Red Sox team is that they're inconsistent. Like so, as soon as they start getting momentum, they just hit a brick wall again. And I don't want to even say it's just this year's team. This is year 5, year 6 of the same shit over and over and over again. And it wears you down as a fan. Like, we had all this hope coming into this season because they finally spent some money, and then they pissed all that goodwill away before June.
Yeah, I'll jump in here because to that point, you're kind of in this loop of insanity. And what's the definition of insanity? Is just doing the same thing over and over and over again, waiting for a different outcome, and it just never comes. And so, what do you have to do? You have to change things up. Everybody's been talking about, firing this guy, firing that guy. How about bringing up a guy like Roman Anthony that could provide an immediate spark, right? I mean, you just saw that in Kansas City, and you saw Jack Caglione, one of their top prospects, come up to provide an immediate spark for a guy or for a lineup that has underperformed to date and is still very much in their race for the AL Central. I mean, go ahead, Fink.
It's just infuriating on that point because Caglione got drafted last year. He's played 56 total minor league games. Roman Anthony's played 91 at the AAA level and has absolutely dominated the level. Don't get me wrong, but like, at what point is enough enough? Like, enough is enough now. I mean, like, how do you not bring this guy up? I know you can make all these arguments, like you have all these outfielders, you have this, you have that, whatever. You can find if you have good players, you can find a spot for them. At the end of the day, I don't think it's that hard.
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, I think the last date that you'd be possibly looking at right now is the June 6th date. Of June 6th, he can no longer be a Super 2 guy. And for those that are curious, like, he can't enter arbitration after two major league seasons. And so, I think that's the only thing that they're currently waiting on, unless they are potentially looking at, a Duran trade, which is potential.
Nick?
Yeah, so I'm going to jump in here too, because you kind of started hitting on the spot that I wanted to, Nate, about the Super 2. Like, if the more days that go by, the more it feels like Craig Breslow is more worried about service time manipulation than he is wins. Because if he was serious about wins, Roman Anthony is one of your top 3 outfielders right now. And yeah,
Nate?
it's service time over wins.
Yeah, and to that point, and just piggyback off of that, exactly what did Breslow say in his opening presser when he was hired for the job? Is that his job was not to have the number one prospect or the number one prospect system. It was to have the number one team at the major league level. Well, actions speak louder than words, buddy, and his actions are not matching what that is reflecting, and it's infuriating.
He also said he was not another Yale nerd or Harvard nerd, wherever he came from, that he wasn't just going to be another nerd in that role. And the more we keep acting like the Tampa Bay Rays of the North, the more he's proving that's also false too.
Can we even blame him though? He was like the 48th dude interviewed for the job. Like, no one wanted the fucking job.
And that all comes back to John Henry.
No, it all comes. I mean, kind of, but I guess, yeah, because they fired Heim and there's so much turnover at the top. But like, it's how could you not find anyone? Like, this was the 89th dude you interviewed, and this is the only guy that took the fucking job. Like,
well, again, it comes back to John Henry with how much turmoil there has been at the top since basically Theo left. You had Sherrington come in for 4 years. Dombrowski comes in for 3.5, 4 years, whatever it is. Bloom didn't get to see out his contract. Like, if you're top of the league executive, why would you want this job? like within 2.5 years, your ass is on the line. Like,
Can I just say this real quick? Sorry to cut you off. I feel like it comes back on Cora. I mean, this guy just continues to, dude.
I would,
He keeps saying
I
the
would,
opposite
I
of
would,
what the GM says. He
I
keeps
wait,
there's obviously no
wait.
connect there.
I'm not blaming Cora for the turmoil at the top. That predated Cora. That goes all the way back to Bobby Valentine and Terry Francona. Like that's not Cora. That's John Henry, Larry Lucchino back then, in terms of trying to overcorrect problems that they see and not staying consistent. And that's not a Cora thing. And it's not really a Breslow thing. The buck stops at John Henry. And now this year specifically, I really can't blame on Henry because we did exactly what we wanted him to do. He opened up the wallet. So this year, if 2025 specifically, I can't really blame on ownership. Everything predating that, absolutely 100% on ownership.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think like Cora just didn't have a connection with Heim, and it feels like it doesn't have a connection with Breslow. So that's where I kind of want to put some of it on Cora. Like at some point, you just got to kind of shut up and be like, all right, we got to work together to get through this thing. We can't keep butting heads. Like we got to pull the rope in the same direction if we want to get to where we want to be. Which right now it feels like just a fucking wild card berth. Like you can't just keep butting heads with everyone. Nate.
Yeah, I was just gonna say a wild card berth seems like wishful thinking the way that this team looks right now. And I know that we were somewhat bullish on the sense of the season isn't dead yet, but to your point, I mean, it starts at the top, and if there's turmoil at the top, how could you not have turmoil at the bottom and just an absolute shit show because everybody's fighting with everybody and it's ridiculous. But if you follow us on Twitter/X, we did put up the poll earlier this week of who's most to blame, and according to our listeners, Cora was the least of the four, with Breslow and Rafael Devers sharing the lead there, followed closely behind Nick's negativity on this podcast.
I just don't get how Devers could get any of the blame. Dude leads the league in RBIs. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
It's all about and it's all about how he's approached things.
Yeah, not how anyone else has approached things. It's not just a one-way street, but we're not going to keep going over the Devers drama because it's over at this point. Abraham Toro was here to stay, my friend. I'm all for Big Abe. He puts it on the line every night. I mean,
is he not just this season's version of Dom Smith?
Oh yeah, he is. We're gonna have this season's version of Dom Smith for it feels like eternity because who knows if Casas is coming back and we have nothing else besides Ryan Noda just sitting in AAA and I do not want to see that. He's a 65 overall in MLB The Show. He's got to be awful. He has to be awful. Like,
hey, the show's ratings aren't that good.
No, I get that, but like, dude, this dude is awful. There's a reason we traded this dude named Cash for him. Cash must have been awful. Nick, I mean, you got something?
I have nothing on.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's my bad. But no, I mean, like, I feel like we should just extend Abe Toro. I think that's what we need to do. Tony, can you book that extension for Abe Toro? Because who knows when we're going to have a real first baseman again. I mean, the White Sox checked in with us if we wanted Bobby Dahlbeck, and we were like, nah, so who knows what's going to happen there. But
we did get the Savior back tonight. We got Romy back.
Yeah. Well, too bad we're down 6 before we even got to swing the stick. That's a tough hole to come back from.
Yeah, it is.
That's
a lot of baseball left.
I was going to say, that's a good rap bar, I think. Down 6 before you grab the sticks.
Thank you, Big Swinging Nick.
Is that what you think Nick's rap nickname would be?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God, no. It'd be a little baldy. A little receding.
Fair.
Oh, jeez. Sorry for the watchers on YouTube if you had to see that.
No kidding.
Luckily, you didn't have to see Nick's whatever that is up there. But
there's a reason why I wear a hat every episode.
Gotta go to the Tube Queen.
But whoops, I just muted myself mid-thought. That's on me. But the Yankees are coming to town soon. I'm always excited to watch Red Sox Yankees no matter what's going on. I feel like no matter how bad we are, we're always ready to go against them no matter the year. One thing I will say, no Garrett Cole this year is going to suck because that's like 18 million, I think, home runs Rafi's guaranteed when we play the Yankees when Cole pitches. So, yeah, that'll suck to watch. But any thoughts on the Yankee series coming up? I know we're kind of overlooking the Angels, but I don't want to talk about them right now because they're better than us. We're losing by 6.
The only
Looking
thing I
past
got
the
on the
Yankees.
Yankees series right now is it's gonna probably make or break the division race. Like you can get yourself back in this in terms of you can wipe off 3 games right there if you pull off the sweep, but it can go the exact opposite. And next thing you know, you're double digits behind in the scoreboard. So it can end the division race. You can't win the division race with this series, but you sure as fuck can lose it.
Yeah, Nick. So where do you think that lands? Let's say let's play, both sides of the coin here. Of they win all 3, and they're now what 6 back, something like that.
6 back, depending on how
this series goes against the Angels. But
yeah.
So and we're already in June, right? By that point, we'll be a week into June, and so trade deadline's not all that far away. Right. I mean, we have a month and a half of baseball left. And so before the trade deadline, that is, and plenty of holes that could be filled if they end up being buyers. But if they ultimately lose all 3, I mean, that pretty well cements them as being sellers. No, I mean, am I off base there?
I agree with 100% that you just said, which doesn't bode well for content because there's not going to be much back and forth. But you touched on it a little bit earlier with the Jaren Duran rumors. Like if you get swept, you could see Duran heading out the door a lot sooner than any of us could imagine. And if our listeners didn't see it, Underdog Sports was reporting that the Padres had checked in on the availability of Duran, and the Red Sox didn't hang up the phone immediately. So they were taking calls, and that Yankee series can kind of sum it up. Now, I'm not saying Duran would get traded right come Monday morning, but that could, like you said, turn them into sellers instead of buyers, or even stand pat. So if they become sellers, you can see Duran out the door by July.
What kind of return would you expect? 'Cause I think the accompanying point to that was that it would require a pretty significant trade, in trade back in, oh my gosh, assets received by the Red Sox. Can't talk tonight, sorry. So what would you expect in return for Durant?
In a perfect world, I want Leo Dallas DeVries, however you say his name. I think he's like their number 2 prospect, the shortstop.
Number 1.
Nate, number 1. Okay, yeah, what Sal is slipping because the dude can't hit, but he's still 14 or whatever he is, so that's fine. But no, that's who I would want. But I don't think this has been going around on X a lot too, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. People, I think in Boston, especially us, I think we value Durant a lot differently than other clubs might. Like, I don't know how the Padres value him in terms of a trade. So, what do you guys think?
So I don't really know what
the return would be.
So back in the offseason when we were doing a lot of our Red Sox talk, I said I would trade Duran back in the offseason. I'm not sure if I would do it in the middle of the season unless it's an overpay, because I don't think you would get equal value that you could get if you had a full-on bidding war in December. But if the deal is right, I'm open to trading almost anyone. If there's no untouchables for me, is what I'm saying. So if you can find common ground and get good value for Duran, and right now Durant's a present day player, and right now the present day.
Is that a finger, Tony?
Yeah, it is. I would go with the Padres, and I would do a little 2-for-1 special. I'd ship Duran and Trevor Story off for Xander Bogaerts and some prospects. That's what I would do.
The only dude on that active roster I'd want is Luis Arias to play first base and hit 360 for us.
I love him, but I cannot see that. That he's
No
such a bad
juice
first
at all, but
baseman.
he's just gonna hit. He's awful at first too, but he gets on base, and that's something this team desperately
100%.
needs. Someone that just puts the ball in play, gets on base. Nate,
Yeah, that was what I was actually looking up. So Luis Arias, he struck out 5 times on the season to date.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here on June
strike
2nd.
out 15 fucking times a game.
Yeah,
Sorry for
and the Red Sox are currently 3rd in the league in strikeouts behind this Angels team and the Colorado Rockies, which if we're in the same conversation as the Colorado Rockies, I have no business being in the same conversation as Colorado Rockies at 9-50. So, that's a guy that may not be the solution to all your problems, but he certainly would be a step in the right direction. Plus, the removal of Duran in the outfield makes it really, really easy to slot a guy like Roman Anthony in that we just got done talking about. It just makes the path so much cleaner.
2 things.
But
I don't think it would be Anthony that slides in. I think it'd be Yoshida, and also Arias is a free agent after the end of this year, so you're not committed to him long term. If he hits 360, I mean, I would, especially with Costas up in the air, I think you give him a chance. Nick.
oh no, I was just putting my hands up. But
I tell you
on but on that point, like say Arias doesn't strike out that often, well, Driveline will have him striking out 3.5 times to 4 times a game at this rate. So who knows?
See, I think you put way too much stock into Driveline. I don't think you even understand what Driveline is, and that's completely fine. Last episode, you said it was virtual reality. That's not even close to what it is, but that's fine. We will do a Driveline dedicated episode, and I'll educate you. We'll do that, but not tonight.
Are we going to kick Jim Rice out of that too?
Jim Rice, if he's tuning in, no, but I don't think he's tuning in, so I'm going to say that's up in the air for now. We'll see.
Tony,
I'm not
can
saying
you
Driveline
talk
is
Jim
the way,
Rice?
but I'm just going to explain to you what it is and why. Sorry to cut you off, Nate.
I was
But
just
you-
requesting that Tony get Jim Rice.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm on the phone with him right now. He's thinking
I
about it.
do it. All right, perfect. I do want to add one thing. Devers has an RBI. Go figure, right? And Dobbins came out of the pen, throwing 2 2/3, looks good. But yeah,
That's like saying Chris Paul hit a big 3 down 54 or whatever it is that meme.
I mean, you just got to chip away. It's still early. That's why you play 9 innings. They gave up 6 in the top of the first. Haven't given up anything since. So I mean, just keep chipping away. That's all you can really do, and that's what they're doing. So
I mean, this is a team that put 13 on the board in a single half inning. So
exactly, you can never really give up hope till the game's over. That's what I said about the Celtics. I mean, then I wasn't going to be worried till they were done. Now I'm worried because Tatum's Achilles is popped, but I think Tony has something for us. Tony?
Yeah, I think we all believe that this team can get hot and can go on a run at some point, and they have not done that at all this season. And I think if it's going to happen, it has to be in this month of June. So my question to the 3 of you is, who's going to be the guy or guys that are going to have to step up and take charge to get this started this month?
easy, Trevor Story. I think if he is the leader and the clubhouse presence that we all think he is, him raising his floor to be just a competent major league player would go so far in just raising the floor of everybody else around him. Because if we have a competent Trevor Story that's not an automatic out at the plate, and then he's playing just average defense, I think that goes a long way for depth in the lineup. Obviously defensively, because right now it's Duran and it's Devers, and everybody else is more or less flailing. And to Nick's point earlier, inconsistent is really the name of the game, except I didn't realize that it was inconsistent for 13 guys, because you have your starting 9 and then your 4 guys in the starting rotation, and then Crochet is in a league of his own, which thank God we have him. Holy cow, if we didn't have him, we'd be up Schitt's Creek without any paddles. But for me, it's easily Trevor Story that we could ride or die with TS10 right now.
I don't want to poop all over your take, but I think this was just a perfect scheduled 3-game set for Trevor Story against the Braves. This dude mashes specifically against the Braves. It's 347 in his career with 51 hits, 16 homers, 41 RBIs, 34 runs scored in 41 games, and it's 380 at Truist Park. So I don't think we should buy too much Trevor Story stock right now, unfortunately, because I think it's just we got fortunate that the Braves were right there, and it was in the midst of him being absolutely awful. Nick?
To jump in on the Trevor Story spot, to steal 98.5's Joe Murray's line, people need to learn for Trevor Story to throw him the gas and not the ass. Because the two big hits that he had down in Atlanta was an 83 mile per hour off speed pitch and a 91 mile per hour slow ass fastball or whatever it was, two seamer sinker or whatever. This guy still can't hit hard pitching.
That's not true.
Like,
he drove a 98 mile an hour heater for a hard lineup. All I'm going to say in the Atlanta series.
Okay, so I did miss that one immediately, but still, one fastball that he's hit in 2.5, 3 months, like
no, that's a fair
Joe Murray. Yeah, throw the gas and not the ass because he can't really hit it to save his life. So to answer Tony's question, I'm going to just throw Bayo out there, but it could be any number 2 pitcher in that rotation. Who's going to step up and be the next guy after Crochet? Because Crochet, as Nate said, is on a different planet. But you need a guy like a Bayo or Walker or someone just to give you something in that number 2 spot as a number 2 guy in that rotation. Because right now it's Crochet and then 4 duds. And Bayo can't get through the 5th inning.
Yeah, Nick, I think that's a perfect call out because we were just talking about building momentum, and what better way to build momentum than having 2 consecutive competent starters? I think competent's the word that I just keep throwing out there because that's all we need them to be. We don't need them to be all stars. We just need them to be competent and not give up 6 without getting a run or getting an out. God bless. But I didn't mean to cut you off there on your thought because I thought it was a good one. But I think that getting 2 competent starters in a row would go really, really long way for this team.
And
my answer to Tony's sorry, you go, Nick.
I was going to say, we talked about being the blueprint here and wanting a blueprint championship. Well, let's look back at the past blueprint of the 4 World Series champions that we've seen. Pedro and Schilling, Beckett and Schilling, Lester and Lackey, Sale and Price. We always had 2 aces in that 5-card deck, and right now we don't have it. And that is really what's not the only thing, but that's a huge portion of, like you said, Nate, not being able to have momentum. In order to sustain that momentum, you need 2 guys at the top of that rotation consistently going, or maybe not even at the top of the rotation, just 2 guys at the same time that can get going. It could be a number 3 and a number 4 or whatever, but right now Crochet's on another planet. You would like to see another guy step up there.
Yeah, my answer to Tony's question would have to be Christian Campbell. At this time last year, he had no career AAA at bats. I'm not selling my stock in Christian Campbell yet. I think he was due for a rough month. I mean, he burst onto the scene pretty quickly. I touched on this in our last episode. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. You can find us on YouTube. You know the gist of it. Nick took you through that earlier. But, I mean, just a guy. He's young. I think if he can find his groove, especially with Toro and now Romy Gonzalez back, but with Toro finding his groove at first and kind of making a name for himself, they're starting to walk back Campbell having to play first. So hopefully he can get comfortable at second base, get comfortable in the 6 through 9 spot wherever he may hit. Obviously, he won't hit 9 with Rafaela, but I just hope he can find some sort of consistency, really lengthen that lineup, get on base, which is something this team desperately needs, like we said a little bit ago. But before we wrap up this portion of the podcast, before we jump into the Patriots, do you guys have anything else?
Yeah, I just have one name that I want to throw on our listeners' radar. I think it's been easily forgotten. Patrick Sandoval. He's expected to make a return at some point this year. I think entering this season, there was a lot of debate on where does this guy fit in, because it seems as though the rotation is pretty deep, and then we actually have some deeper options there in AAA. Well, forget all that. When he is healthy, he's got a spot. Because right now they need somebody to come in and to Nick's point, provide the stability that a number 2 or 3 needs. Go ahead, Fink.
I also have another point. I don't think it's fair to just bash Bayo for not being able to get through 5. I mean, he said that he thinks he can get through these tough spots. We've seen them in years previous test him, let him go back out for innings after struggling, and he's got through it. And I think that's how you build up a pitcher, ways like that. But it's not just Bayo. It's pretty much everyone in this rotation except Crochet. So I don't think it's fair to just slap on Bayo. That's it.
Well,
I know you're talking. I know.
Yeah. Bay is the first thing that popped in my head, and he's the one with the extension last year. He's the guy that you envisioned was going to take that step forward, and he hasn't.
I also want to say, right now, would you resign Walker Buehler?
I think
Yes,
terms
but
is
tell
going to
me
be
the
really
parameters.
important. Yep, Nick and I are in lockstep there.
Well, what's he making now? 10 for a prove it year?
I think it was like 21, right?
Oh, was it? Shit, yeah, you're right.
It was right around the qualifying offer.
I keep just TS10 is in my head, man. But any final thoughts on the Sox before we toss it over to the Pats? You see what I did there?
Don't give up hope.
Wide 80.
That's all. Just don't give up hope.
I need you to convince me why I shouldn't give up hope in 30 seconds or less right now. Convince me and convince the listeners. Convince us right now.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, this team it's too good, it's too deep. We have Crochet for all the reasons that we were excited about this team to start the year. A lot of those players are still in place. We still have a healthy Crochet leading the rotation. Chapman has been better than advertised, closing the games out, and it was, he didn't even give up a blown save until after Mother's Day, and we all know how he feels about his mother. You have a guy like. Yeah, exactly. You know what I was talking about. So,
Hey, what was that? The Cookie Monster?
A lot of the guys that we brought in have been better than advertised. So why not keep that excitement? I know that we lost Cassis, we lost Bregman for a while, but we have guys like Marcelo that we didn't necessarily expect to make as big an impact so far this year, and then Campbell's already up. There's just a lot of reasons to be excited about this team, and I see no reason here in early June for Boston sports fans to completely give up hope. That's not us.
I completely agree. I don't think we should give up hope yet until the bell has finally rung on the 2025 Red Sox. Seems like that could be happening sooner than we thought, which is unfortunate, but I think this team could go on a run. We need to get Bregman back, but hopefully, to your point, Nate, Trevor Story can get it going. Hopefully, for my point, Campbell can get it going because that's two bats that desperately need to get going. And then Nick, I really hope Bayo steps up. I've wanted him to be a top of the rotation guy since he's came up, and unfortunately, it hasn't worked out yet. But I mean, I'm not going to say it's not going to, Nate.
Yeah, PT, can you book me with the Red Sox? Because I think that they need to just have that own motivation. I'll give that same speech directly to them, or maybe we can send this clip to them. But I think I'm a big believer in manifesting your own destiny. If they just think positive, maybe that's their issues. They just need to think positive, and then they'll start winning ball games. That's all.
All right, now it's time to talk about more brighter times in Boston and New England sports with our beloved New England Patriots. Obviously, Nick looks like Belichick right now. Nate's got him right behind him. I still got Craig Breslow up here, but I'm a big Craig guy, so he's staying up there for right now. But let's kick this thing off with Stephon Diggs, man, because I mean he's getting it thrown back on him by Cardi B. He's passing out candy like it's Halloween on a boat, and he's also grinding his absolute ass off. Like, this guy is 7 months post ACL, and he looks like an undisputed wide receiver one. Not obviously for this team because we have nobody, but I mean, for how many other teams in the league, I don't know. But let's talk about Stephon Diggs. Tony, I know you have some thoughts, so how about you kick us off?
Hey, I honestly don't care what my wide receiver one's doing off the field as long as he produces on the field. And so far, he showed up today, and I heard he's actually been helping out the younger wide receivers. So, leadership on the field, pretty good. Off the field might be pretty questionable right now, but as long as he doesn't get in trouble.
Clearly, he's just very generous.
He's a giver.
Instead
and I think he's going to give us 1,000 yards this year.
Yeah, instead of the blueprint, we're now the pink print with that pink powder in that baggie.
Yeah, I don't want to know what that was. I hope
Oh,
it doesn't. Nate, sorry.
I know exactly what that was. You guys remember Fun Dip? You had this.
Oh
Oh,
my god!
Oh,
what is
yeah.
it?
It's
Get
the
wet?
stick that you licked and then put in
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah, yeah,
clear
yeah.
sugar.
The plastic
Well,
bag. You
I
want it?
mean, clearly he was with a younger crowd, and he was like, "Look at this fun dip that I had when I was a kid," and he was just, again, he's a giver. He was just generous and showing his
So,
nostalgia childhood.
so you're saying our diva wide receiver isn't doing drugs, but he's giving out candy to younger people. I don't know if that sounds any better.
Please don't call him a diva. He's not a diva.
Look
Stephon
at
Diggs
He's
him.
as much
Stephon Diggs
he,
is
he,
exactly what this team needs.
he's as much of a diva as any guy we've had in the last since Antonio Brown. And I'm not saying he's Antonio Brown. Please don't take it like. But we knew this was what he was when we brought him in. You're going to get the diva wide receiver behavior. But to Tony's credit, if he's producing on the field, I don't give a shit. Like, obviously that comes with parameters. Like if he's out breaking the law and doing morally
Well, he
bad stuff, like an Antonio Brown was doing, or a Tyreek Hill, then yes, I care. But if as long as he's producing, if that's the worst he's doing, I can live with it.
I'm gonna read you a tweet from Rappaport that came out a little bit ago. I don't know if you guys saw this, but
I
he
saw
said,
this.
okay, he said from the insiders on at NFL Network, the Patriots have no plans to release Stephon Diggs. They have high hopes for him, and him showing up to OTAs was a good thing. So that's great to hear. I don't know how Nate takes that.
Yeah, well, the one thing that I wanted to comment on the whole boat scene is I'm in complete agreement with all three of you. If I don't give a damn what he does off the field, particularly for the fact that there were no teammates being distracted by that boat. He didn't have any teammates with him there. So if he's going to be a fuck up, he's going to be a fuck up by himself. That's okay. Because it goes back to the whole thing of, go ahead, Fink. Sorry.
No, keep going.
That goes back to the whole thing of you have the superstar that goes out and parties until 2 o'clock in the morning, or you have the guy that just goes and grinds, but he's average, right? The team always goes and picks the football player, the grinder, because he's not going to go and take the 2 a.m. party animal that's going to take all of his teammates and drag them down with him. You guys know the example that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So this is a perfect example of that. If he can go out and he can do that kind of stuff off the field and then still come back to the field and produce, I don't care. As long as he's not dragging his teammates down with him, and it doesn't appear as though he's doing that. Exactly the opposite, actually, because who's the guy that got ridiculed the most last year other than Gerard Mayo? Jalen Polk. And Jalen Polk was the guy that was attached to Stephon Diggs' hip today at OTAs, and they were walking through everything together. That is what I'm talking about of when we're talking about building a blueprint and we're talking about, the leadership of men, and there's no sport that it matters about leadership more than it does football. And that is the kind of leadership that this team has looked for and needed for the last couple of seasons since Tom left. And so I couldn't be happier to see Stephon in the building and doing what he's doing. I don't care what he's doing off the field.
No, and that's exactly how I feel, because it's not even like he's the one posting him partying. Like it was a video taken. He's a celebrity, like he's a famous person. I'm not going to call him a celebrity. That's the wrong term, but there's always going to be cameras on you. He should know that, and be a little bit more careful. But I mean, it's not like he dragged his teammates out there, like you said, Nate. And everything he does actually post on his social medias is everything to do with football, and some occasional photo dumps of him just looking so good. Like we've needed this for so long. I'm so happy we have a wide receiver one, man. I didn't think it was going to be Stephon Diggs, but also the way they introduced him in Forged in Foxborough episode 1, if you haven't seen that, go watch it on YouTube. But I mean, it was so cool. He was like, I just want to win, man. Like it was, oh man. Anyone else? Nick?
Yeah, and I think this situation is why you have a guy like Vrabel there to set this culture and set this accountability. And Vrabel touched on it earlier in the week when that video surfaced. Like they've talked to him about it, and then that you just hope and learn that you need to make better decisions. But with the culture that Vrabel's trying to build, this is why you pay Vrabel the money that you do, because Vrabel's going to be able to extinguish fires like this. And I'm not even saying this is a fire, but the potential to be one down the road. Like you nip it in the butt now, and you see Diggs come right out. And as Nate's point, he's working with the younger guys and just giving off that experience, giving more tips and whatever, and just to raise the water level of everyone else in that wide receiver room.
Not to shift gears too much, too fast, but there's a couple of names that I wanted to just point out too. Of Evan Lazar on Patriots Unfiltered and Catch 22 was talking about two guys that are really, really making an impact early in camp. Number one, Travion Henderson. They said that they are scheming this guy up all over the field already, and I would expect him to have a big rookie season because they are going to. And Josh McDaniels is the perfect mind and offensive guy to have in this position, to have an absolute gadget player like Travion Henderson and just put him in the most unfortunate matchups for the defense, because he's a guy that has, the pass blocking abilities, yes, but he has the power to be able to run power, and then he has the speed to be able to get out wide. Go ahead, Fink.
To me, he feels like James White on absolute fucking steroids. Like on 10 million rounds of anabolic steroids, every performance enhancer. I mean, yeah, I can't wait to watch. He's so toolsy. Like, it's kind of how you talk about a baseball player, like a 5-tool player. That's exactly what Travion Henderson is. He does everything. I think he would sell tickets to let people into Foxborough on Sundays too.
Yeah, and I mean, how exciting is that we have names to watch on Sunday now? Last year it was the promise of Drake May, but then it was, well, who's he going to throw to? Or, who is he just going to end up on his ass because we have nobody to protect him? Well, now we have names, right? We have Travion Henderson in the backfield. We have Ramondre Stevenson in the backfield. We have Stephon Diggs out wide. We have Kyle Williams that's catching 70-yard bombs from Drake May and Josh Dobbs. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about, and I know Nick has a thought on Travion Henderson before I move on to my second name. So go ahead, Nick.
Yeah. Travion Henderson was, I think, the guy we all looked at each other in the group chat the night he got drafted back on draft night. Like, Will Campbell was a foregone conclusion, and we thought they were going to go wide receiver in round 2, and all of a sudden they mentioned Travion Henderson up at the podium, and it's like, what? Like, that's not a typical Patriots move, but he hits every level that you want in a running back. Pass blocking, the power rushing, the catches out of the backfield. Like, James White on steroids. I don't know if I will go that far because James White was undersized, but I get your point, Fink. And if they utilize him correctly and he gets healthy, he stays healthy, sky's the limit for this kid.
So the second name that I wanted to bring up that apparently is making a lot of waves for young guys, because I think an honorable mention is Robert Spillane. Apparently, he is just an absolute ball hawk, always around the ball as a linebacker. He's going to be an absolute tackling machine, which, if you remember last year, defense wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible when they had Juwan Bentley, who was their version of their just tackle machine. And then as soon as he went down, the wheels fell off the defense. So I think Robert Spillane's going to be an absolute unit there in the middle of the field for the Patriots. But the name that I wanted to bring up is Craig Woodson. Craig Woodson was the first, he's a 4th rounder. He was the first guy that we were really like, who? Or because he wasn't really on any draft boards. And even Evan Lazar, again, I'm going to go back to using him as he's a primary Patriots resource for us. But Evan Lazar was like, that was really the only one that I was really questioning. But he just seems so instinctual, and he is just in the right place at the right time already in OTAs as a rookie. And it's been truly impressive. And apparently he's a pretty damn hard hitter too. So when was the last time we had a guy from a smaller school that was a hard hitter playing safety for the Patriots? Go ahead, Fink, because I think you know the name that I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry. I had a different thing to say.
I was just saying that, hopefully he turns into a Devin McCourty type. But go ahead.
No, yeah. But back to what Nick said, that James White was undersized. Guess how tall James White was?
He was 5'10", 5'11".
He was 5'10". Guess how tall Travion Henderson is, Nick?
Is he 5'10"?
Yes, he is, my friend.
My bad.
It's okay. Not my
That
bad.
actually surprises me too.
No, he's little. He looks little on tape too, in my opinion. He doesn't look that big.
I don't think he looks
But
undersized for a running back, but I thought James White looked smaller.
No, I thought James White was 5'6". So I thought I was going to be proved wrong, but I still had to Google it. But I think
well,
another name, and it's a undrafted guy. I think it's what's his name, Efton Chisholm. I think his last name's Chisholm. But they said he's a top.
that is who I thought Nate was going to go with for his
That's
second
what I thought
name.
he was
So
going
I'm
to go
glad.
with too. But they said he's been like a top 3 guy in terms of speed. He's making plays. But yeah, I mean, we just need talent. Give me talented dudes that make plays on this football team. I don't care where you came from.
Yeah. 7 for 7 today on targets in OTAs during the competitive periods. One name I heard compare Chisholm to was Edelman. I'm not ready to go that far, and that's not anything against Chisholm. It's Edelman broke in and found a role on special teams first, punt returner and all of that. I don't know if Chisholm is going to have that many opportunities to do that because special teams have each year have gone down and down in terms of importance. Like they're trying to legislate that unit out of the game at an NFL wide level. So I don't know if Chisholm's going to have as many opportunities as Edelman did to get cracks in the rotation. But if Chisholm can work his way up the depth chart and assume that they're keeping 6 wide receivers, you got Diggs, Pop Douglas, Kyle Williams, Mac Holland, I think are the 4 locks. And now you got 2 spots between Chisholm, Baker, Booty, Polk. So Chisholm's no lock to make the week 1 roster, but if he can, I've liked everything we've seen from him. It's
Kendrick Bourne as well.
But that's the thing. If you keep some of the younger guys, that means you saw a lot from the young guys that you can maybe push out that veteran. But
no, I know, but like he's in that group that could potentially not make the roster right now.
Oh yeah, he's definitely on the bubble, and that's not to say he's not one of the better wide receivers out of that group. I totally agree. Like,
I just don't think he'd be the guy out, especially with how good he was with McDaniels in that 1 year. I think you've got to have guys that are somewhat familiar with the system.
Oh, I agree. Like I'm not on team cut Bourne whatsoever, and I don't want that to come off as I am. I'm saying if they do cut him, it's because these younger guys stepped up during OTAs and training camp where you kind of force their hand, where the young guys go out and seize it, and then you can push out the vet. But I'm not doing that unless the young guys force your hand.
It's Tony's 2 minutes. Ba-dum-dum.
Thank you for that intro. That was actually awesome. I think I need that every time I come on here for this.
I think well, after the episode I'm going to be in the lab working on a few things. So maybe we'll just get you your whole theme song. How about that?
That'd be amazing.
All right.
I got a light one for you guys today. A nice fun one. It's going to be biased, so it's just my pick of whose is the best. We're doing a Mount Rushmore today.
Hell yeah, I love Mount Rushmores.
I'll give you the perimeter of it. My favorite meal of the day, even though I don't eat it half the time, is breakfast. I love breakfast. Fink has a little bit of advantage because of all the Dunkin' runs me and him have been on, so he knows a little bit of what I like to eat. But I want you guys to make a Mount Rushmore of breakfast items, and can be anything. But I recommend having at least one drink on there as well. Okay, we'll go. Nick, you're gonna start. Fink, you're gonna go second. Nate, you'll go third.
Okay, so am I giving all 4 at once, or are we all giving one and then we're going around?
We're gonna do all 4 at once, so you can have repetitive items. That's fine.
PT, I would recommend writing these down.
I got you.
Okay, so number 1, chocolate chip pancakes. Number 2, a Belgian waffle with whatever you want for toppings, a strawberry, raspberry, blueberry, whatever your topping of choice for a Belgian waffle. Crispy bacon. And for a drink, See, I'm a coffee drinker. I drink coffee religiously every single day, but you gotta go with hot chocolate in the mornings, maybe for breakfast.
Hot chocolate.
Yeah, you don't have hot. You've never had hot chocolate with a breakfast?
No.
Oh, it's so
I'm
good.
trying not to give too much of a reaction to any of these, so that they can't make their picks based on that. But it's a good start, Nick. Think?
All right. A Dunkin' refresher, a Dunkin' wake up wrap,
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah.
pancakes, and cereal.
Oh, okay. All right. Nate.
I'm starting with my drink because my morning always starts with coffee. Period. Hard stop. Then I'm going a Southern classic chicken and waffles. And if you hadn't tried it, you need to. It's fire. Okay. We got coffee, we got chicken and waffles. I like where Nick's head's at with the Belgian waffle and fruit. And then my last one is a good avocado toast. Bring me the Brady breakfast.
I liked everybody went a different route with this one. This was interesting. We had Nick with the carbo loads with the waffles and pancakes. Fink was doing the Dunkin' for everything. Nate, you had the coffee in there, which I'm not gonna lie, I would have picked yours, but coffee sold you. I hate coffee, so it's pretty good breakfast. I liked it, and I was between Fink and Nick, but I didn't like that Fink went all Dunkin' because, I mean,
Not go all Dunkin'.
and
I
I'm
did not
sorry,
go
I
all
have to give it to him because he picked my number one breakfast
I didn't
food of
go
all
all
time. It's
I
chocolate
went
chip
to
pancakes.
I went to Dunkin'. I went
Yeah,
to
but then
Dunkin'.
cereal was like a bullshit pick. I would
I
not
went
want cereal.
pancake. I went pancake, cereal, Dunkin' refresher, and Dunkin' wake up wraps. How is
Fink,
that all
Fink.
Dunkin'?
Okay.
Your game show
I would have
sucks.
probably
Your game
picked you to
show
win because
sucks.
you listen.
Your game show sucks. Nah, game show sucks.
You're negative 3 points.
Whatever. Get to your corner. Get to your corner. Nate,
What
what?
was that?
Now he put himself in the corner.
Sorry,
Nate,
YouTube.
That's an ultimate fail. All I know is I got the point, so I'm happy.
Bullshit. Tony can't listen. I didn't say 4 Dunkin' items. Bullshit.
A lot of ball game left, boys. 6-5. Let's go.
See?
Yeah.
I
Nomi
told you, Nick. Always be positive. A lot of ball game left. All right. Drake May had a day, eh?
14 for 16 in the competitive periods. The only thing I will say is if we're going to be consistent, last week when you threw the 4 picks on the 9 passes, we said we can't really make a big deal of it. I'm not going to make a big deal of 14 of 16 in non-padded practices, but I will say it was a good sign that he's rebounded and he's not making the same mistakes. And that's the positive that you take out of it, not the 14 for 16. It's that he's not repeating the same mistakes over and over.
Exactly. And he started the OTAs off rough. And Vrabel said, we're not going to judge it practice to practice. They're going to see how he's progressing, how he's taking the adversity, how he's learning from it, exactly like you said, Nick. And yeah, I mean, it's just great to see. McDaniel said that he loves how much of a leader he is, how hard he works, how hard he prepares. It's just what you want to see for what is our franchise quarterback now. There's no ifs or buts about it, especially going into year 2. You don't want to see him painting his fingernails and doing whatever like out in Chicago. So you like to see hard nose, hard, like, right, whatever the saying is. Nate.
Yeah. So I would like to just make this comment and then kind of segue into another point, as Drake May in his preparation is what sets him apart during his rookie class, right? Is they put him through the absolute gauntlet of play calling, decision making, schemes, everything during their pre-draft interview, and he was able to recall it all like no tomorrow. And so that's where I think that he has a huge leg up in learning this McDaniels offense, is that has been historically hard to learn. That I have the utmost faith that he's going to be able to do it, but it's still May/June OTAs, and so I put no precedent on the results. But to your point, the 14 for 16, I'd much rather 14 for 16 than 8 for 16 or 10 for 16 with 6, interceptions. Like, I would still much rather him go out and execute. But the point that I wanted to make and kind of segue to is, have you guys heard that Vrabel has put Drake May and some of the other starters basically on their own field during this OTA practice, and he has 2 fields operating at the same time. One of the big knocks against Gerard Mayo was how slow developing his practice was, that it was a rep, and then it was some coaching and finesse work, and then it was a rep, and then it was some more coaching and mistake fixes. Whereas Vrabel is 7-8 snaps in a row, always in Drake May's ears on the play calling, and then moving on to the next, and then doing all of the coaching and rep fix in the film room. It just seems like his practices are so much more efficient, and he's moving along and progressing these guys forward rather than just being stuck in the same spinning tires place. Fink, I saw your finger first.
Well, I can tell you why that is, Nate. You want to know why?
I'd love to know.
Well, that's because Vrabel's a real head coach, and we actually hired someone that knows what the hell they're doing. That's why. It's because we didn't hire someone that's just because we went to Israel or whatever and we had a vision. Oh, this guy could lead my franchise. Shut up. Go get another massage, Robert. Bullshit. We finally have a coach.
Don't we all?
I was going to say, not to the extent that I think did, but it's going to be like Vrabel has the head coaching experience. Mayo didn't. Vrabel's run practices and run OTAs before. Mayo has it or had it. So that's where something like that really rears its head, where the efficiency of practice and how, like, anyone can be an armchair coach on Sundays during the season where should have called timeout there. You shouldn't have run the ball here or whatever. You can criticize that. But the bread and butter of coaching is April, May, June through August, and all the practice sessions, all the film sessions. So you're seeing that more with Vrabel already, and that bodes well come September.
I don't think I could be more excited for this Patriots season in this next regime. I mean, I really do think, and I'm hoping I'm speaking directly to our audience when I'm saying this, I think that the Vrabel-Drake May combo could be the next Brady Belichick. Like, their timeline and just ceiling is so high. There's nothing to be not excited about in New England. Even all the Stephon Diggs drama, like, take that and who cares? Who cares? There's so much to be excited about with this team. And I really hope that our listeners are embracing this and keeping up with Forge and Foxborough and keeping up with our podcast, obviously, as we continue to talk about OTAs and really the dog days of the football season, because there isn't all that much going on. But man, there's so much to be excited about.
And to your point, Nate, I just want to throw this out there. There's no harm in then having the goal set so high where we also have to tamper expectations where these guys aren't going to be Brady Belichick in terms of the sheer 2 decades of dominance. Like, if that's what we're setting the bar at, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment, because Brady and Belichick aren't coming around again. But to your point, do they have the opportunity to be the next great Patriot? I don't want to throw the word dynasty out there but the potential is there. I just don't want to set that bar so far unattainable that we're left wondering what went wrong when really nothing probably did, is my point.
I also think it's perfect timing. Shout out Shadur Sanders. But like, Josh Allen just turned 30. Mahomes isn't getting any younger, and we all know what he's spending his money on now, if you saw that picture. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Boobies.
Exactly, Tony. Tony understood. But
You had to say that right during my middle sipping a juice.
But no, like, the league's not getting any younger. It feels like this is a perfect time. Feels like this is a perfect time for Stephon Diggs to be here in year 2 with Drake May, a bona fide wide receiver 1, someone that's an alpha that you can get the ball to him, and having Hunter Henry, who was Drake May's go-to guy last year, having two sure-handed guys to throw the ball to, along with all this young talent that we have and that we are seeing right now. I mean, there's no reason not to be excited, not to want to keep up with this team and see what's going on, see how this roster shapes up. I mean, it's an exciting time. It's a brand new culture, brand new version of Patriots football, and I couldn't be more excited.
Have we done a post draft, post schedule release record prediction for the Patriots yet?
Not
We
yet,
have
but
not, but we should.
That's a good tease for our next Patriots episode.
That is a great tease. That'll be coming at you at some point. But
Yeah, but the point I was going to make to that, where this is going to come off as really cocky as a Patriots fan, but back in the Brady days, they really only played a 2-game schedule: the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. That's when the season started, was that AFC Championship game. You just had to go 2-0. You could pencil it in, which I don't want to say made the regular season boring, because I didn't take those games for granted, and it was still sit your ass on the couch and watch the games every Sunday. But really now this year, where this is the first time I've really felt excited for a full-on Patriots season starting week 1 all the way through, probably since the day they named Mac Jones the starter over Cam Newton, where you thought Mac Jones was that franchise quarterback, and you were going to see him right week 1. But then ever since then, it's been downhill. But now you're going to get to see this team, Drake May and Mike Vrabel, start building these building blocks and transitioning week to week, seeing how it progresses. So that's going to be the exciting part, where each week you have something to watch to see growth.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap up this edition of the Boston Banner Blueprint podcast. But before we do that, Nick, I'm throwing it right back on you. I mean, to you, for where our fans can find us.
Oh, are we not going around the horn for shout out to Around the Horn, as I rest in peace last week, but giving final thoughts?
Oh, I thought that kind of was.
Oh, I thought that was my final thought. Because there was one more thing I wanted to touch on today as a final thought, and that was going to be what happened down at Foxborough today. And that is paying tribute to an all-time great Patriot in David Andrews in his retirement ceremony. Like, watching him up at the podium, letting all that emotion out, it was touching, because you couldn't have asked for a better Patriot from where he started to where he finished. And I think I'm pretty confident in saying that someday in the future, he's going to be one of the ones wearing the red jacket and getting his name up in that Patriots Hall of Fame.
Yep, I totally agree. My closing thought is just a quick tease on episodes to come. We certainly have Patriot predictions coming up, as well as a likely Bruins head coach conversation as they're narrowing their search, and we will break it down when that news breaks.
For me, it's just let's go Patriots. Let's get into the dog days of summer and hopefully get some preseason football going. But yeah, I'm just really excited to watch this team, watch Travion Henderson run around, watch Stephon Diggs hand out candy. I'm excited. Tony?
Yeah, I can't wait to see Stefan do a line off the good old Pats helmet on one of these leaked videos one day. But until then, Pats 10-7 next year.
Oh, that's a little tease for Tony's prediction. He'll dive into that next episode. But before we go, Nick, you have a new nickname. Do you see it?
For someone who hates Scott Foster, you're an asshole. That's funny though. So you can find us. You can find us on Twitter /X at Boston Banner BP, Facebook and Instagram Boston Banner Blueprint, TikTok Boston.banner.blu, and Apple, Spotify, YouTube Boston Banner Blueprint.
Peace.